Hi, this is Abby Bird. This is week 4 commentary. Our readings were chapter 8 and 9 from Hall and the Hidden Dimension, chapter 9 and 10 from Levine's A Geography of Time, The Temporal Misadventures of a Social Psychologist. And then lastly, I'll talk about In Praise of Slowness, Challenging the Cult of Speed, and that is my favorite reading. I'm absolutely obsessed with that book, and I'm really glad we had to buy it. So Hall in his chapters continued to talk about distances between themselves and other people and things, and how this creates a person's territory and how you are related through space affects how it's interpreted. And then my second favorite reading of this week was A Geography of Time, and he talked about the silent language and minding your time and timing your mind. One of his main points was to reinterpret doing nothing, and it's just so true that I feel anxious when I sit down to do nothing, and then that doesn't even really allow your body to rest because you're thinking about needing to do something. And then the second point that I thought was really interesting was how people appear busy, and should that be admired or pitied. This was my favorite quote because I literally do it every day at work. If somebody deemed important walks by, then I look extremely busy and I'm clicking away at my computer. But that's not really accurate, first of all. And then it reminded me of a quote of being either busy or like important, or like how people like will stuff their calendars. And I'd like to hear like commentary on this from the people who comment back, is being like busy, like, oh, I have to do this, and this, or having a schedule and prioritizing that, and getting things done, because a lot of people just procrastinate and let things pile up, and that is deemed as busy, but really if they would prioritize their time, it could get done very fast. And then the last point was to value time as money, and kind of keep your time sacred is how I read that. And then lastly, from In Praise of Slowness, chapter 3 was food, turning the tables on speed. I like how he opens everything we are with a quote, and this one was, "We are what we eat." He mentions the acceleration at the table is mirrored on the farm, meaning that he mentioned that a pig took 5 years to grow to 130 pounds, I think it was, and then now it takes them 6 months to reach over 200 pounds, which is just alarming to think about. And then it brought up the Slow Food Manual, and that roots in Europe, and it opposes GMO and promotes farmers markets. And then chapter 4 was cities blending old and new, and the most interesting part of this to me was Sea to Slow, which is places in Europe that are havens from the high-speed frenzy of the modern world. They cut out local noise and traffic. They promote local producers, farmers, things like that, and promote neighborliness. Chapter 8 was Work, the Benefit of Working Less Hard. It talks about how the French government implemented a 35 hours per week maximum. Employers hired more workers, GDP went up, and employment went down. Was overall beneficial for that country. And then another thing in this chapter, it mentioned that it quoted, people in control of their time are more relaxed, creative, and productive. And this kind of ties into what I said. This is much better put. But is in control of your time allows you to not feel busy, not feel rushed, and to be productive with your time and not waste time. Waste time thinking about what am I going to do, when you could really just rest and do it in the specified time. Chapter 9 was the importance of being at rest, and it just talked about returning to slower pursuits such as gardening, knitting, and reading. I absolutely love this book, and he mentioned I think Professor mentioned it, but he has a book, I think it was called Follow Through, and I'm gonna have to buy that because I love everything he has to say. Thanks so much.